here towards me.
Back off from me. You're touching me.
I'm not. You're touching me.
Putting a camera in people's face and asking what they think is quite provocative.
Well, it's actually violent to do that.
Well, not.
What?
How do you know what gender you are?
By my genitalia.
By your genitalia?
Yeah.
Oh right, okay. So, but that's not actually right. So.
It's a great point. That's a great point, sir. Madam, sorry.
Madam, thank you
I'll
very
follow
much.
that.
Trans women do not have any testosterone in their body.
You know we have a saying, it's punch fascists.
Are you threatening to punch me?
If you want to be a fascist, then
What makes me a fascist?
you'll be gone.
Is he calling you a fascist? Is it because you're a fascist?
But my entourage is back, and they are continuing to follow me.
You're anti-trans.
I wanted to look at this trans rights protest thing. We got trans rights protest, Nottingham goes way left. I've watched this person before, Nots Online. This person covered, so there was a Let Women Speak event in Nottingham, like a few months ago. This person showed up, they ended up at the wrong protest, because it was the trans people, the counter-protest, the people that are basically there to censor Let Women Speak, because what they do is make a lot of noise so you can't hear them. That's censorship in my opinion. And like, these people were like super hostile and all sorts of weird shit was going on. But yeah, so we got Nots Online. Trans rights protest, Nottingham goes way left. Let's just see what's been going on in Nottingham, which seems to be a cursed place, quite honestly.
Just noticed there's another protest here today. And as I'm here, I'm going to ask them what it's all about. Hello. Yeah. All right. What are we doing here today?
Oh, so this is a trans rights protest today, just against the Supreme Court ruling this week.
The Supreme Court ruling was what?
Basically, there were 5 cisgender,
This person looks familiar. Who is this?
so that's non-trans judges, made a judgment to say that the definition of sex purely within the Equality Act 2010 was defined by the sex one is assigned at birth. And so it rides roughshod over all trans people, particularly trans women. But what it also does, they said that sex was binary, which is actually biologically wrong, because then that ignored all intersex people, and 1.7% of people in the UK, all over the world, are intersex. And so it was actually completely wrong.
Completely wrong.
Yeah, it's meant to be like a sanctuary city or something bizarre.
Yes, totally. Yeah. Where are you from, by the way?
I'm from Nots Online.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So,
Sorry.
yeah,
I just decided that.
No, of course.
But hey, listen, I'll say one thing. This person is friendlier than the last lot of people that this guy encountered. I'm going to guess it doesn't last.
Yeah.
Of course, I mean, obviously, if there are issues with people, not recognising people's
Trans people are just ordinary people who, I don't know.
rights to define themselves however they want, that's understandable, because people do matter, whether you're...
He's been on live TV interview. Yeah, he really looks familiar, but I can't place him. Hi, Laura Bam Bam. Hope you're good. Someone from Def Leppard. Fucking hell. They're a community event for these people. Yeah. It's always the same people. It's like a hobby, pretty much. Just showing up in the middle of town and shouting a bunch. Wow. Productive. Useful.
trans or anything at all.
Absolutely.
I think that the ruling was in retrospect to the women's spaces, because obviously when somebody decides to be another gender, okay.
Nobody decides that.
Well, some people do.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do.
No, they don't. They don't decide that.
How do you know?
No, you're born. How do you know? Are you a man?
Is he going to say they're born? You're not born with gender dysphoria. You're not born... Well, maybe you could be, I guess. But you're not born trans. You're not born a woman in a man's body. That doesn't make any sense. This person looks decently old. He should know this. But then he's also in a thought cult, so hey.
No, they don't. They don't decide that.
How do you know?
Yeah, he's going to say you're born. I don't know what you're going to say, but it's wrong.
You're born. How do you know? Are you a man? Are you a man?
Why are you asking me that?
No. Are you a man?
Why do I have to quantify
No. You're asking me questions. You decided up to me.
You haven't answered them.
No, all right.
Okay, it got spicy very quickly. These people do not like being questioned. You cannot disagree with any of these people on anything. Even if you word something wrong, you decide to be, well, you actually do decide to be. You make the choice that you're trans now. That is literally how it is.
Well, it's an innate, it's a feeling inside.
It's innate. It's not innate. Being trans isn't innate. It can't be.
You that you know how how male or how female.
How do you quantify that?
But how do you know that you're? I'm assuming you're a man because you're asking. How do you know?
My gender.
Okay.
Please do not assume my gender. First of all.
Okay. How do you know?
Why
what
did you
gender?
assume my gender?
No, but how? Okay.
Why did you assume my gender?
Okay, because you're asking these questions and you're.
Okay, he's getting a bit like silly. I don't know. Maybe try and like diffuse a little bit to start with. I think would be better, but I don't know. This guy, last time, they weren't very friendly towards him. I think he took the bait an awful lot, but I can see why he's now like a bit peaked on this whole thing, ultimately. I don't know. This is what happens. Like you're pissing off like normal people, left, right, and center, because you can't have the slightest disagreement about what it means to be trans. We've decided that trans people have to be the one that define it. Well, I'm sorry. Most of them are too close to this.
Being very defensive about this. So
I'm not being defensive.
Okay,
I'm
so
asking you a question.
how do you know
Why
what
did you assume my gender, please?
How do you know what gender you are?
By my genitalia.
By your genitalia?
Yeah.
Oh right, okay. So, but that's not actually right. So,
In your
It's not actually right. That's why 99.95% of people are correctly assigned or observed their sex at birth. Including you, including the guy interviewing, including myself. All male, by the way.
opinion.
They know when the male aggression instantly pops out. Yep, true.
Why are you forcing it upon me, though?
I'm not forcing it on you.
Can I not define my own version of gender? I'm asking you.
No.
Can I not?
Yeah, he's kind of saying that the other person's wrong because he says that he defines himself based on the fact that he's got a penis. Doesn't he get to choose that? That's kind of a good point.
Enforce my own version of genderism?
No.
Why not?
Look, it's something.
Why can't I define what I am?
It's something.
But you can define what you are.
It's something that's inside you that you just know. Okay.
But yeah, I've definitely seen this person before. Oh, dancing in a woman's bath. What is this shit? Why? Who was it earlier saying like this is like the new Just Stop Oil? I'm like 100% agreeing with you. What about those people that detransition? The argument falls flat on its face regarding it being an A. Well, yeah, here's the thing. If you're trans, you were always trans and you were always actually the opposite sex. But if you detransition, now you were never the opposite sex. You were never trans. It's completely retroactive. It doesn't make any sense. These people want to be able to define their own sex, but you can't because sex is physical. It's a part of who you are. You're one or the other in the very overwhelming vast majority of cases. Can you imagine like being a normal person just happening upon this kind of shit? It's not going to make you sympathetic to this cause. Like, this is the cringiest fucking shit I've ever seen in my life.
And I tried to be the man that I thought society wanted me to be. For 48 years, I tried to be it, and I fought against it. And I couldn't do it. I couldn't live like that any longer.
Born, how did you define yourself?
When I was born, I didn't define myself as anything because I was a baby and I didn't know. And it's only as I grew up that, right from my earliest memories, age 3 or 4, I've always felt female. But I fought against it because
felt female. Female is a sex. Female is not a feeling.
What society told me. And I had something called gender
society told you. Like, what does that even mean?
Dysphoria, which is a mismatch between how you feel in your head and the heart.
Oh, of course. I understand the issue completely.
No, well, you don't. You don't.
You don't. I understand.
Because you're being very hostile.
No, I'm not being hostile at all. I'm not.
You are.
Projection.
I don't believe you're from Knots Online, frankly.
I am. Honestly, I am.
No, I don't believe you. I don't believe you.
I am, honestly.
You're being very hostile.
I'm not.
You are.
You're in public. It's a public place. Basically, so what I'm trying to ask you is that obviously your personal journey. I appreciate that you've been through whatever you've been through to get to where you are now. In terms of women.
Thank you, Sheridan. I appreciate you watching.
In spaces, that's irrelevant to their rights.
So what do you think is going to happen now? How do you think these women's spaces can be policed? Tell me how they're going to be policed. Policed.
Why do they need to be policed?
No, how? So if you're saying you're protecting,
how are they going to be policed? Retroactively, people can presumably sue because they weren't able to have a female-only space. Places might see people go in to the bathroom they shouldn't be and might decide to kick them out. They might just refuse service if it's something like a women's-only gym or other space that is for females only. There are ways. Just because it's not amazingly enforceable, that doesn't mean you should get rid of it altogether. And it doesn't mean you should start dividing people based on how they decide they are, how they've said that they are. Oh, well, I'm a woman because I say so. Like, when you think about things like male and female criminality, it makes sense that there has to be like certain provisions for women as the more vulnerable sex to things like sexual assault. And whether you're a trans woman or a man, you're still male and you still have a different pattern of criminality, especially when it comes to things like sexual assault, to women and trans men. That's just how it is. You can't get around that. To do so is cope. These people pretend that trans women aren't part of that statistic, but they are. Like, you can find this on the fucking government website.
I do not want you to have any discomfort in public if you need the bathroom.
Okay.
I don't want you to feel like you have to explain yourself.
Okay.
But unfortunately,
so where do
people also have rights. You're not the only person in the world who has rights.
Okay, so where do you think I should go to pee?
You guys actually like radical feminists. I have radical feminists that watch me. I have trans people that watch me. I have all sorts of people.
Pardon?
Where do you think I should go to go to the loo?
Wherever you feel comfortable.
Okay, I feel comfortable. I feel comfortable using the ladies' loos.
Okay. And would you mind
Do other ladies feel comfortable you using them in their presence?
if it made other people feel uncomfortable? Would you care about those other people?
Well, it doesn't make other people feel uncomfortable.
How do you know?
Because whenever I've gone to
If
the
there
loo,
was somebody there who was uncomfortable with you doing it, would you then do something to accommodate their feelings?
I would just go into a cubicle. Basically, there's cubicles in ladies' loos.
If somebody felt, sorry to interrupt,
No, you are
if somebody felt like you were, offending them in any kind of way, or you were upsetting them, or they felt that they were, they felt threatened in any kind of way by you or me.
Well,
if it was me going to the toilet, dressed the way I am, if I went into a female toilet, okay, and somebody questioned me, I would not mind them questioning me because of their own needs, because they have rights. If somebody questioned you, would you take it offensively?
Okay. What about trans men? There are lots of trans men who look very similar.
It didn't answer. No one cares about trans men. Do you want to know why? Because men are generally not threatened by women. And trans men are women. So if a trans man goes into a male toilet with other men and starts kicking off, those men more than likely are going to be able to handle themselves and would feel confident and wouldn't feel threatened by that person being there. Women might feel comfortable, threatened by a male being in their enclosed space. You know what I mean? There's cubicles in the men's, that is true.
To you, very similar to you. And where do you think they should go to have a pee?
It's a great question.
Yeah, where should they go?
We do need to find a solution.
Okay, and what
the
about
solution needs to have flexibility.
And what about
where's the flexibility on your side?
And what about cisgender?
I'm asking you a question. Do you have any flexibility?
Let me answer the question then. All right?
Question?
You didn't even answer the last question, so I don't know, bro.
What's the question?
So what about, there are lots of cisgender, so that's non-trans women who have got a very masculine appearance, such as butch lesbians. There are lots of them, okay? And what we're finding now is that they are being questioned.
Well, it's happening, not often. I'd imagine often when they are questioned, they respond. The person realizes it's a woman. They're like, oh shit, I'm sorry. I don't know, man.
When they use the ladies' loos.
Ladies' loos? Oh,
Yes, when they use it. And this is going to happen. This is going to happen more. So basically, it's being policed by... It's the look police, okay? What's wrong with just having...
Why won't this person admit that part of the reason people are so hyper-vigilant about ladies' loos, women are so hyper-vigilant, is because nowadays, people like this who don't really pass feel emboldened to use their toilets, and that they don't necessarily want males in there. Why wouldn't that person admit that that's part of the... Oh, Jesus. Bad angle.
Gender-neutral loos everywhere because they're just cubicles. Excuse me, let me finish.
What's the
As
question
long as the cubicles, all right, the partitions and the doors go...
They're apoplectic with rage when people tell them they're not women, especially when women say so. Their envy and hostility turns violent when challenged. Well, I don't know how often these people are violent, but like, they're so obsessed with like these labels. I have to be labeled as a woman, not a man. It's like, why? Why not just be effeminate? Why not just be a feminine man? Why does it matter so much that you take on a specific label? It feels like that, like the status of being a woman is much more what these people are interested in.
Go from floor to ceiling and the locks work, then you're just in a safe place. And the only place that you're someone of a different gender is when you wash your hands. How many times have you washed your hands next to somebody of a different gender?
That's a great point. That's a great point, sir. Madam, sorry.
Madam, thank you
I'll
very much.
I'll put that, madam.
Oof. Ouch. I think he probably is doing this deliberately to an extent, but I don't know, man. These people are very, they're attending protests. They're happy to be inflammatory in their own way. They should be able to deal with a bit of it back, for sure.
Okay. I still don't believe you're from
Not online.
No,
I am.
Okay.
But
you're very hostile.
you make some very great points, though. I'm here to engage with you. And your point about the butch lesbians being questioned when they go into a male toilet, that is a great point, because appearances can can vary between males and females, whether they're transgendered or not. You can still look feminine as a man. You can still look butch as a female.
Absolutely.
So, what is the practical solution to this problem?
And that's the practical.
It seems to me that sorry to interrupt you, but it seems to me that rightfully or not, the way that you expressed this issue, or in the past when these issues have been expressed by by transgender movements, it seems to me that they're rather aggressive about it. That's all.
Well, it's only because of the people such as you who are being very aggressive towards us, and we're basically
Being aggressive, you fucking perma victim.
just want to be happy. Trans people aren't a threat to anyone. If people,
Are you happy to accommodate people who aren't
Apart from the ones that are.
Can I just explain something about trans women? So obviously, trans women who have had lower surgery, well, they've got vaginas anyway, and so you're saying that you define.
Technically, they haven't.
Yes.
It's not a vagina, bro. I've had that same surgery. It's not a vagina.
They have. They have. Okay.
This person is just like coping. They probably had it themselves. They have to cope and tell themselves that they have a vagina. It's not a vagina, bro. You've had your penis rearranged. Where's the ovaries? Where's the uterus? Where's anything? It's not there because it's not a vagina. Imagine if I went around introducing myself with instructions on how you must address me. Normal people simply don't ask that of each other. Yeah, true. That's what people wanted. So many people were like pushing for this whole thing. Oh, hi, what's your name and pronouns before we have any kind of conversation? It's like retarded. They wanted to like normalize that shit, but it didn't work because no one wants to do that. Transsexual people don't want to do that. It's a non-binary thing. Because the thing is, if you're non-binary and you go by they, them pronouns, no one is naturally going to call you that. They're going to have to tell you to call you that. Most transsexual people don't want to announce their pronouns. They want you to guess them correctly. So the whole thing was a complete waste of time. And like, we haven't normalized shit. People just find it annoying.
Okay. So they've got vaginas anyway. So you're saying that you define yourself by being a man because you've got.
Yeah, she's engaging, but she's like talking bollocks. Like, for one, you don't have a vagina. I don't have a vagina. I don't claim to. I've had bottom surgery. I've had a vaginoplasty. That doesn't give me a vagina. Because you have to be born with one of those to have one of those. You have to be female. This person isn't female.
A penis.
Yeah.
Okay. So therefore, trans women.
It's not just that. Every single cell in my body is male. I'm a male chromosome all over.
And with cross-sex hormones and
We
blockers,
shouldn't discuss biology with this conversation. This is not.
This person thinks that their sex changes. How often do we hear from like dumbass fucking debate bro idiots? Oh, trans people don't actually think that their sex changes. Yes, they do. Some of them do.
It's male. I'm a male chromosome all over.
And with cross-sex hormones and
We
blockers,
shouldn't
that
discuss
actually
biology with
changes.
this conversation.
It doesn't change. I don't have XX chromosomes now because I'm taking hormones for years. That's not how it works. There's nothing to back this up.
This is not a biological conversation because you will lose. You will lose biologically. Please do not try and justify it biologically. It's impossible.
This just shows how hostile you
No,
are.
there is science. And
Because he argues with him, it's hostile. You're a pussy.
genderism. There's two different subjects in my opinion.
Why are you at a protest when you're this much of a fucking wimp? You want so badly to impose your beliefs on other people. And as soon as someone disagrees with you, oh, you're attacking me, or you're hostile, or you're aggressive. Fuck off, bro. People like this are making like things worse. People like this give like other trans people a bad name, frankly. Go dancing in fucking women's toilets and arguing that you can in fact change your sex, which you cannot. It's not based on anything. It's based on your feelings.
No, I just
Am I
think.
allowed to have an opinion?
Well, you're allowed to have your opinion.
Are you
I'm
open to
allowed
that?
to have my opinion. All right?
Yeah, when has he said otherwise, bro?
I'm not preventing you from
But
yours.
what I'm saying is the other thing is that for trans women who haven't yet have had lower surgery, yes, they're the owners of a penis. Doesn't mean to say they want it, and doesn't mean to say it works. It doesn't work sexually.
The owners of a penis. Okay, so anyone whose penis doesn't work. You don't know what sex they are, but they have a penis.
Do you know?
It doesn't work.
Excuse me.
No, let me finish the point. If you
You
ask
never
me,
stop.
look, if you don't want to hear my answers, then I think you need to just go away. I finished.
I know you have. Because the question is, obviously,
Oh, it was a bit Dean Withers at the back there. Fucking hell. Still in the conversation, staying calm. Are you watching the same thing I'm watching? Staying calm. What are you talking about? How are you staying calm when repeatedly accusing the other person of being hostile and aggressive? I think we're watching different fucking videos right now.
But if you don't want to hear my answers, then I think you need to just go away. I finished.
I know you have.
I think you just go away. I'm going to leave. Okay, so he doesn't have to go away then.
I know you have.
Yeah, it's a bit Dean Withers at the back, unfortunately.
Because the question is, obviously, is how do you tell somebody's sexual preference? Very difficult, very difficult.
Bit of a non sequitur there. Sexual preference. I don't know.
Hello, everybody. Hello.
People here, trans people, don't talk to this person. He's really...
Are we still staying calm and we're part of the conversation? Is that still happening?
hostile. He's just done a really hostile interview, so don't talk to him, okay? Okay?
This gentleman has just assumed my gender. Don't assume my gender. Do not assume my gender. This person assumed my gender, yes or no? How do you know my gender? Excuse me, how do you know my gender? Please do not assume my gender.
I told you I finished with you. You're very hostile, and I finished with you.
No, I think you've been very hostile towards me. I was very polite.
Have a lovely day.
I was very polite.
No, I don't. Absolutely.
I'm not trying to prevent it. I'm not trying to prevent it.
The thing is, no one think you're helping.
Look, can you move up my personal space?
Okay, so just because some people screech at the top of their lungs, that doesn't mean that this person is calm. That just means that some people are more extreme when they get angry than that person. I'm not saying it's comparatively calm. I'm saying he's not being calm. Being calm doesn't mean getting agitated. That person was getting agitated. They don't like being questioned. I'm sorry, you're just wrong here.
Please, Vicar. Thank you very much.
What the fuck was that?
I don't think you're helping.
What is he doing? That would make me exceptionally uncomfortable. I'm the kind of person, if you do this kind of thing to me, you actually do risk getting fucking hurt. Because I'm that skittish about people getting in my space, especially people coming up behind me. I fucking hate it. What are you doing?
Look, can you move up my personal space, please, Vicar? Thank you very much.
Not a threat.
Would you like to discuss why you came that close?
Well, no, I just. Well,
So why would you come and engage me if you don't want to engage me?
I just walked.
Your foot was almost touching mine. Why, sir? Why, sir?
Well, because I like.
Are you a vicar?
Yes, I am.
Okay, for which ministry, please? Simon, thank you very much. Thanks, Simon.
I've got nothing.
Oh, is that person? It's fucking Christian from the last one. Like holding up the umbrella and shit. Crazy, crazy person, this one.
In the name of Jesus Christ, where do you preach?
Where do I preach? I don't preach.
Where do you pray?
I pray everywhere.
Where do you preach?
I'm
Where's your ministry?
I'm licensed within the church.
Why did you come so close to me then?
You got a license to that dog collar.
I wanted to talk to you.
Okay, let's talk. What do you want to talk about?
No. Well, I didn't want to talk. What I wanted to say was.
So you didn't want to talk?
Well, I just.
Why did you come that close to me?
Is that not kind of assault? Like, what are you doing? Is this person still calm? Is this what a calm person does? You could like damage someone's hearing doing that shit. Crazy. Got cars pulling over and shit. Yeah. If you're driving around here, you hear that. You like look around, what's happening? Shit. I'm amazed you're allowed to do that. I mean, you're probably not. Like, you probably could catch charges of that kind of shit, but I doubt they did. Listen, I'll say, like, obviously he's like kind of provoking to an extent. The other thing is, if someone approaches you with like a microphone and a camera, you are like 100% in your right to be like, oh, I'm sorry, I don't really want to be on camera. I don't really want to like talk. I don't want to be on an interview or some shit. They don't have to do any of this. They didn't have to get into that argument they did. They could have stepped away at any time. Like, there's no way that this is legal. This is insane.
Thank you.
There you go. All they're doing is proving they're toxic. Yeah, these people are fucking nuts, man. I don't know. Like, someone showing up like this. Yeah, it's kind of provocative. Like, you don't have to engage with these people. If the conversation's getting hostile and you're really that uncomfortable, just disengage. These kind of people are exactly why. Like showing up in women's bathrooms and going dancing. Assaulting people's eardrums because someone questioned your gender or some shit. It's so pathetic. These people aren't women. You're not a fucking woman. You don't have any right calling yourself one. And you're an insult to any actual woman out there. Leftist mob threatened to punch journalist. You're not welcome here. So I think we've got another, it's going to be similar to the Knots Online thing.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is E Speaks Freely, or you might know me as Emma Dunwell. So just going on behind me, I'm in Parliament Square, and just going on behind me is a protest against the Supreme Court ruling regarding the legal definition of a woman. Now, there is a huge turnout. I'm going to try and get in there and get some interviews, hopefully civil ones. I suppose today I'm trying to find out
Optimistic. I can't do normal.
why people have such a problem with this ruling. Obviously, this doesn't stop trans-identifying people from identifying and presenting however they choose. It just puts limitations on that identification, and it protects women.
I wonder why people aren't being convinced when people just shout trans rights or human rights over and over again. I wonder why. It's very baffling to me.
The guidance that the previous government put out and that our current government is currently honouring is nothing more than despicable. When I come back into school on Tuesday, I want to be able to tell my kids that when the systems in place fail to protect us, we fight back!
Excuse me, guys.
See what I mean? It's all the same shit. It's just all the same shit that people say. Like they've been saying for years at these protests. And it's not working anymore. How come people show up every year at these stupid protests to say the same shit over and over and over and over again? And yet things are still getting worse. Why isn't it working? Why is no one thinking, maybe we need a change of tack?
Do you mind me asking why you're here today?
Support trans rights.
Yeah? And is this a counter-protest against the Supreme Court ruling regarding the legal definition of a woman?
I think so, yeah.
So do you guys have a problem with the legal definition of a woman?
I think it should encompass all women.
By all women, you mean?
It does encompass all women.
All women, anyone who identifies as women.
No assimilation!
Okay, so woman means no assimilation. These people are idiots. You don't want to assimilate. Well, then why would you expect any fucking rights? Oh, you have to give us all our rights so that we can not engage in society. It doesn't work that way, you utter retards.
No assimilation!
Like, go away and don't fucking assimilate then. Go lock yourself in your fucking bedroom. Stop making the rest of us look bad.
Trans women are women, and we stand in solidarity with all women and need to be protected. But we are the ones that are vulnerable as well. I think that needs to be acknowledged. It's down to the individual to identify how they want to, and nobody should have the right to dictate or
Yeah, anyone can identify as anything.
declare someone else's identity.
I mean, there's been a lot of instances with NHS nurses who have been forced to change in changing rooms with transgender women who have still fully intact male genitals. That makes them very uncomfortable. Do you think that that's fair for them to be uncomfortable?
I think genitalia is such a niche argument towards all of it.
Genitalia is a niche argument. Bearing in mind that's where men and women come from. It's like which genitalia they have. Looks like Starmer. A little bit, yeah.
I think
Maybe that's why I'm slightly turned on. That's a joke. That is a joke.
it's a case of accepting that, yes, there are vulnerabilities and to work around that, but to work together and not divide it.
Yeah, work together, aka shut the fuck up if you have a problem with that.
My name's Puck. I am the Vice Chair on the London and South East Regional Committee, and I'm so proud that we are here today supporting this protest. And I'm so proud to see so many other unions here as well. But I want to be honest, it's not enough. It's not enough yet. We can't sit on our laurels. We can't be complacent. We can't say, oh yeah, trade unions are so great. We're here. We're not here enough. We need our leadership.
Yeah, what they need to do is shout the same shit at more protests. Then it'll definitely work. Note Palestine flag, note Kafirs. Like I said, it's all the same people. They don't want to assimilate, but ironically, they do assimilate, otherwise they look so similar. Yeah. They're just, it's just another set of norms that they adhere to.
To show up. We need our members to be there in solidarity with us in our workplaces. We need to be ready to take industrial action. We need to not implement transphobic policies.
No borders, no nations. Transliberation. Transliberation is meaningless. It's bullshit. Queers for Palestine. Dykes for colonization. What does that mean? Like, what does no borders have to do with trans people.
I think this decision specifically is going to be used in ways that it shouldn't be. It's going to be used to impact people who have been constantly marginalised, and they're going to be implementing it in ways that I think a lot of people who may agree with the decision as it stands.
Yeah, it's going to be bad, and like bad things are going to happen, and bad things, and vague allusion to bad things that literally everyone else is saying without any kind of meaningful extrapolation of what actual bad things.
What's your name, sorry?
Jack.
Jack. So do you mind me asking why you're here today, Jack?
I'm here because I'm a trans masculine binary person, a trans feminine partner, and I do not want to be hiding back like when we were when I was a kid. You know, back in the 90s when we had...
Oh, this person's like old as well. Jesus Christ.
No equality.
So are you protesting specifically against the Supreme Court ruling?
Yes, without a doubt. It shouldn't have been ruled.
Mate, you don't want to be a fucking woman anyway. Why the fuck do you care?
It was the wrong ruling, and it was only done because someone put money in.
No, trans mask means they're female.
Do you think that there's a chance that it could have been
This actually is a woman, ironically.
done to protect biological women in same-sex spaces?
No, because at the end of the day, up until a few years...
Okay, so no idea about crime stats, no idea about the fact that males are more likely to harm females, especially sexual assault. There's a case for why females need certain spaces away from males.
Ago, I was still out as a cis woman, and I have never once had to fear a trans person. However, I have had...
Well, yeah, there's not very many of them. Some people have had to fear a trans person. Like someone else said, correctly in fact. Evil people come in all shapes and sizes.
Fear cis men.
I've had to fear cis men. Why are you trans mask?
Because cis men don't need to put on a dress.
Yeah, this person is like almost getting the point. That's the sad part. But you're not talking about cis men. It's males. If you actually look at like crime stats, trans women are actually like overrepresented when it comes to like sexual assault. But the more fair way of putting that, and the kinder way of putting that, is to say, well, males and females follow different patterns of criminality. Women fighting against women's rights, that's nuts. Well, they've convinced themselves they're not actually women, so it's fine.
To attack women.
Weird how they always say men are the problem, but they can't see anything wrong with men becoming women. Oh, because if you're a man with a female identity, which doesn't exist, by the way, sex, female is sex, that's just something you are, then magically they stop becoming criminals. Magically they don't do any shit ever again. If you start becoming trans when you're a male, you suddenly just magically never do anything bad ever again. Even though there's so many cases out there of trans women committing sexual assault to the point where we're like overrepresented. People can find this shit if they want to. That's the worst thing. Male to females retain a pattern, male pattern regarding criminality. Same true regarding violent crime. Ministry of Justice data. The question whether trans women match male or female patterns of criminality, specifically addressed by the 2020 FOI reference by Fair Play for Women, who have submitted evidence to the committee. This is the first time there's been official data to compare the rate of sex offending in 3 different groups: men versus women versus trans women. MOJ, Ministry of Justice, stats show that 76, Ministry of Justice, very difficult to claim that they're a TERF group or bias or whatever, show 76 of the 129 male-born prisoners identifying as transgender. Remember, this is how they play cover for this. Because there's not very many trans people, and because just like men, the average trans person isn't violent or a criminal. Like, that's true of both groups. Let's be real. That's how they get around this. Because it doesn't happen very often. Well, of course it doesn't fucking happen very often. There's not that fucking many trans women in the first place. Comparisons of official MOJ statistics from March, April 2019. Most recent official count of transgender prisoners. 76 sex offenders out of 129 trans women. 58.9%. 125. Bearing in mind, how many women are there? How many trans women are there? This is like, well over half the amount of sex offenders that are female versus trans women. When women are like a massively, enormously bigger group than trans women. That's nuts. 125 out of 3,812 women in prison, 3.3%. 13,234 sex offenders out of 78,784 men in prison, 16.8%. So we're like over-represented. So what these people do, they leave out trans women from these problems that there are with men, not all men, but some men. It's more of a problem with men than women. They leave trans women out of that equation, but they shouldn't. And if you actually look, yeah, the women's stats are actually women. And if you actually look at the data, trans women follow male patterns of criminality in general.
Also encompasses the women's sport issue. Can you concede to the fact that biological men in women's sport do have an advantage?
No, because they don't have any estrogen. Trans women do not have any testosterone in their body.
It's not even true. Everyone has a bit of testosterone in their body. I love how these people are always like biology experts.
None whatsoever.
No, because they take blockers.
So your testicles aren't making any. It's not the only place that testosterone is secreted from. And also, HRT only lowers your muscle mass so much. You're still stronger than the average woman as a transitioned male or whatever.
That doesn't mean that they get rid of all the testosterone in their body.
Yes, it does. It blocks
This person is retarded.
out 100%, and then they have to take estrogen to compensate.
Okay, so even through the...
And if I'm sorry, but I genuinely thought that maybe you were on our side, and
there we go. Oh, you're not on our side, are you? It's cult shit.
You're talking to me as if you are on J.K. Rowling's side, so I really do not want to give you any more time. Okay?
Yeah, that's totally your choice. That's absolutely
You're in a cult.
fine.
I think it's only to harm trans women and to continue really harmful stereotypes against that people are.
Another person who's in a cult. How nice.
That trans women might be going into women's bathrooms just to harm others, which I think there are very, very few incidents of that actually happening.
Hey, listen, that's a bit more honest than usual. Usually it's like this never happens. There are a few incidents. That is fair enough.
Okay, so someone has just come up and taken a somewhat random photo of me and videoing me right now and taking more photos. I'm not entirely sure why.
It's because you are a woman that actually looks like a woman, and that's confusing to them.
I did ask why, but he just walked away, didn't seem that keen to answer. I wonder if I can get an answer, actually. Excuse me, guys, is everything all right?
Yeah, we just wanted to check.
No, that's taking photos of me.
If you're a streamer, you're doing the exact same, there's no problem with that.
I'm not trying to get into a conversation. I was just asking if everything was okay. All right. Okay, so the answer I got was, babe, you're a streamer, you're doing exactly the same thing to everyone else, which, you know, I'm not actually going up and taking photos of individual people. What I'm doing is I'm covering an event in a public place, and I'm doing interviews with people who are consenting. I haven't actually done interviews with any of those three people. I haven't spoken to them at all. So I don't know. I don't know what their problem is.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm in two minds. Like, you're going around carrying a camera, you're filming other people. At the same time, like, I don't know. It depends what they're doing, like how they're doing it. I can see how you might feel threatened depending on how they're conducting themselves, taking pictures of you and stuff. And if you're a woman, you might just feel that way a bit more. I don't know if it was guys that was doing it. That might affect things as well. Because believe it or not, there are differences between men and women.
But clearly there is some kind of problem. They seem to just kind of be hanging around. I think they're Googling me.
Hi, sorry, I'm just going to cover the events of the day and find out what you're going to do. Would you mind answering any questions?
She's from Resistance GB. She thinks Nigel Farage isn't bad enough. I wouldn't speak to her.
Sorry?
They always do this. You see so many of these things. Hi, Kitty Cat. I'm okay. How are you? You always get these people. Oh, don't talk to these people. Don't talk to that people. They have to keep the cult pure, you know what I mean?
Yeah, she doesn't think Nigel Farage is conservative enough. Yeah, of course.
Okay. Well, no, I'm not ashamed of those opinions. I'm just trying to get...
You should be, yeah. You should be. Do you like Nigel Farage?
No, no.
Mate, you should be ashamed that you want children to take fucking puberty blockers. That's nonce shit.
Particularly.
You think he should be more conservative?
I think that he's U-turned on a lot of things, yeah. I think that he's a bit two-faced.
You're not welcome.
I'd never asked if I was welcome.
No, because someone like you doesn't have to ask that question.
What's someone like me? Someone like me is...
Take your class on else.
You guys are following me.
Someone like her is someone who doesn't want to castrate children.
I came over here to interview the person who actually said yes to me. If you don't want to be interviewed, that's fine.
Yeah, it's the protest against the court ruling. I think it's the one in London. Sarah Jane Torturer Baker was here. How nice.
Going to let her be entertained by fascists.
You know we have a saying, it's punch fascists. So...
Jesus, you're not helping your case. You're a man threatening women. Not that we're like a misogynist movement or fuck me. I wouldn't dream of like acting this way.
Are you threatening to punch me?
If you want to be a fascist, then...
What makes me a fascist?
Then you'll be gone.
What makes me a fascist? Nothing? So I'm not a fascist.
I'm just warning you.
But in order
if you're
to have
further right than I...
Yeah, a male person. Like, what the fuck?
Nigel Farage, there's not much between them and fascism.
I don't like to align myself with any kind of... If people want to call me left or right, then that's fine. But I just have my opinions, and they are my personal views. I mean, that's fine. I've just kind of come here to ask why people are here. Okay, so if I walk away, are you guys going to follow me again? Is this going to be a little game that we play?
I mean, you could just leave.
That's why I'm asking, if I leave, are they going to follow me? I'm just asking for my safety at this point. Because, you know, I've been threatened to be punched after all.
No one's going to touch you.
No one's threatened to punch you.
No one's going to touch you.
This lovely person right here.
A fascist. I'm not saying that we will punch you, but just the statement itself, you know, fascists get punched.
Why say it then?
Also, do I not...
Yeah, I wonder why people get so confused about why I'm so sick of my own fucking community. These people are fucking gross. I don't fucking like Nigel Farage. I'm not going to punch someone for having opinions about him. If someone unironically decides that they're a fucking fascist, I'm not going to punch them over it. I don't fucking care that much. Quite honestly, I think these people show fascist tendencies, so I don't know, man. Have they got masks on because they're pussios? Because they don't want people to know that they're all in favour of castrating children, which is pedo shit.
I have a right to have my own political views, so if I'm a fascist, but I'm just stood here not doing anything...
They don't think Nigel Farage is conservative enough.
I've never actually said those words. You're putting those words in my mouth. Okay, well, I'm going to leave now. A little guy's going to go and walk around and find some more consensual interviews with adults that can, quite frankly, make their own decisions. So, I'll see ya.
I can't say it wasn't something I didn't expect, but it's also... Sorry, I'm just climbing over a fence here. Oh, and here's my entourage. So, those are the people that are following me.
Massing is so cringe. I mean, who knows what kind of diseases all these people have, to be fair. Yeah. Alan Baker. Disgusting human being. Fucking nasty. Surprising that they didn't murder someone. Like, I read the news article again the other day. Like, they literally... Him and his brother, they literally, like, tied this guy up after torturing him and just left him somewhere. And it was a good job that someone found them, you know what I mean? That someone reported it. They could have very easily both been fucking murderers for that shit.
Yeah, oh, it looks like there's 4 of them now. They're growing in numbers. And I was wondering if... Listen to my far-right channel called TV. Sorry, I'm what? This post is from a far-right channel called TV. Just has been put on my face. It's not in front of my face. You just stuck a sign in front of my face. And now you really are sticking a sign in front of my face. Sorry, what was that? Is that just that? Are you guys not embarrassed? Are you not embarrassed, even in the slightest? Do you seriously not think that if I'm going up to people and asking them questions, they are adult enough to...
Yeah, isn't it a bit sinister? Do not talk to the police, like from the child catcher brigade, from the ones that want to fill up kids with hormones and like sterilize them, and then make sure that no one talks to the police about it. Is it not a bit, in combination, is it not a bit sinister?
Know when they want to be interviewed. If they say yes or no, that's their decision.
I keep doing this today, I don't know why.
Sorry, excuse me, can you see these people following me right now? They've been following me since all the way around there, and they keep calling me a fascist. I'm just trying to do consensual interviews.
They keep calling you a fascist? Is it because you're a fascist?
What makes me a...
Yeah, like, and they just all assume, like, this mob mentality shit is crazy. This is a cult.
Fascists, please tell me, I'd love to know. And they went, that's what keeps happening.
What are they threatening to do to you?
Are they trying to punch me if I'm a fascist and I have it on film?
Okay, if you're a fascist, anything like that with a condition on it, it's not an offence. Okay? Just understand.
But then they're following me around calling me a fascist, and I'm asking them what I've done that makes me a fascist,
Can I suggest,
and then they can't answer.
Can I suggest that you remove yourself from the situation? No. Not the other to engage.
Okay.
Alright?
That's fine, although can I just note
So
one
we
thing?
can't do anything to stop putting placards and things in front of your camera, trying to record stuff and potentially really...
No, them recording and whatever is fine, but I've moved all the way from over there on top of that hill, climbed over 2 fences to get here, and they followed me the whole way, calling me a fascist, and I'm trying to do interviews with other people, trying to ignore them, and then they're coming up to me and putting placards in my face and telling other
They're
people that I'm a
entitled
fascist.
to put placards up in my view, okay? But anyway, if you
So
remove yourself from the situation...
Even though I'm trying to remove myself from the situation.
It's a tough. I don't know what they'd be able to do, to be honest. We punch fascists and say you're a fascist, you're a fascist. It does kind of sound like they're trying to like set things up a certain way.
Oh, I guess I'm keeping my entourage.
If you think that I'm the one that is going to make this any easier for you, these guys are doing you a favour. What are you here for today?
I'm literally just asking people why they're here and just covering the event. That is it. And then since up that hill, I've had people following me and cutting me off and holding placards in front of my face for frankly no reason. I didn't even interview any of you, so I've never actually spoken.
Yeah, you don't have to.
Yeah, but I've never even spoken to any of you before, and then all of a sudden you're just taking pictures of me and following me.
Who are you with?
Myself.
Resistance GB, yeah.
Yeah, I do work with them, but this
Scene as well. Doesn't believe COVID's real and all that sort of stuff.
And what's Resistance GB?
Think of all those people that died in COVID. You probably know some people. This person doesn't think that was real.
Oh my goodness. You really love the sound of your own voice, don't you?
No, it's just much better than yours, love.
You're witty, I'll give you that. I will give you that.
What do Resistance GB? What do Resistance GB do?
Citizen journalism. Literally just citizen journalism.
That's what all the fashion far right are using now. Just journalism, dear. It's fine.
Free speech.
Yeah, free speech. That odd. Good. Yeah.
What's your name? No,
do you guys not like free speech?
I'm confused.
Do you guys not like free speech? No? Is that a bad thing to advocate for? Free speech?
There's different types of advocation for free speech, and we probably don't like the same kind of advocation. But I don't know who you and what you stand for.
I've literally been asking people why they're here and letting them. I'm just giving them a platform to say their opinion that I'll then post. That is it.
Yeah, this is the community. People wonder why I'm not down with my own community. It's because there are plenty of them are fucking psychopaths.
Like literally,
She gets harassed and they like, oh well, they can do what they want. I mean, I don't know. I don't know too much, especially when it comes to like protests. I don't really know how that kind of shit works. Like it comes across to me like harassment, like someone saying, "I'll punch you if you're a fascist," and then calling them a fascist. It sounds a bit of a setup, but I don't know, man. I mean, I think these people are gross. Like, fucking weird. She's nowhere near as provocative as the Knots Online guy. That is true, yeah. They look up someone and find out some of their beliefs, and then that's enough to like harass them. It's nasty.
You put the posts on a platform called, what is it?
Well, this will go on my Instagram because this is.
Yeah, because the problem is now you're giving her like a victim complex. If you people weren't utter retards, you'd just be leaving her alone. Like, if this woman had just gotten like civil interviews with random people, this would have been less of a big deal. So these people are actually being complete fucking morons. What they should have done is just leave these person alone. Like, let them have their interviews with people. Be like, see, the people are just friendly and just like answer questions and give their opinions. Can't you disagree with someone? And that'd be fine. But instead they have to act like this.
This is me personally. I know you love to tell everyone that I'm part of Resistance
Oh, we had 100 people earlier, like a few times. Hi, Nicopter. I hope you're good.
GB, which I am.
What's the name of your Instagram?
He speaks freely. Oh, which obviously you find very comical.
E as in like the letter E?
Yes.
He speaks freely.
It's quite good because a lot of far, especially young ones like themselves, they do this where they kind of...
This person's name is Lilith Morningstar.
Create like, unless you go quite deep into the profile, everything will kind of look okay. And if you go on like Reform, the Resistance GB Twitter and stuff, you can see all the vitriol and the shit on there. You know, it's everywhere. You know,
this person is describing you as far right. Is that how you describe yourself?
No, I just have my
leftist.
No.
And what's your
Yeah, so they don't like anyone who's not a leftist. If you're a liberal, that's not good enough. If you're a centrist, that's definitely not good enough. If you're a conservative, you're a fascist. To be fair, if you're a liberal, you're a fascist to these people.
What's your what's your position on the Supreme Court's decision this week about trans rights?
I think that is correct. I think that there is a difference.
The decision on trans, it's not a decision on trans rights, you mong. It's about the definition of a woman. Not even a trans rights thing. It's just that trans people are affected by it.
What's your position on the Supreme Court's decision this week about trans rights?
I think that is correct.
Yeah, the decision about trans rights. You can tell this person is dishonest. They don't understand what's going on.
I think that there is a difference between people with XX and XY chromosomes. I'm not badgering anyone for their opinions. I'm just simply asking people for their opinions, getting into friendly conversation.
Because the Supreme Court actually breached its moral code on how it's supposed to make judgments, because when a Supreme Court analyses a case, by law, they have to bring in people representing both sides of the argument, and there
Both sides of the argument? What are the both sides?
was not any trans representation within that debate.
Why did there have to be both sides? Why did there have to be trans representation when it wasn't about trans people? It was about women.
So that it's going to fall. It's just a question of when.
No, that's fair enough. But my opinion is as it was before the court ruling. I'm literally just here asking people how they feel about the court ruling. My opinions are what they are. I'm not here to tell people my opinions.
No, but I think people should know your opinion before they speak to you. Yeah. Because without
What? Oh, this person's weird. You have to know someone's opinions on everything before talking to them. What does that even mean?
understanding what your intention is, rather than
the statement itself in a video she's covered.
And I think coming to a trans rights protest as somebody who believes in the Supreme Court's ruling this week and putting a camera in people's face and asking them what they think is quite provocative.
Well, it's actually violent to do that.
Well, not.
What? It's actually violent to do that? This is the first time you speak up and it's to drop that fucking load of shit. What's violent about doing that?
I'm not being violent. The person that we were stood with when you first came up and followed me.
Yeah, I might be reasonable, but I'll still take.
The person that I interviewed first, where you
Yeah, I might be reasonable. You weren't reasonable. That's the problem.
first followed me, threatened to punch me in the face. The person that we were stood with before threatened to punch me in the face, and you guys were all just stood there laughing.
You have nothing going for you. You have nothing.
Well, that's not really up to you to decide, is it?
No, I can say that though, because apparently it's freedom of speech, love. Oh, now we're tripping
I
up on
agree
the,
that
now we're
freedom of
tripping up on
speech.
the idea, are we? Okay. Why don't you
I've been trying to, and you keep following me. Why don't? How about you let me off?
Go on, get off.
Okay, fine. I'll off, and then if you come to me again, then I'll be able to video again, showing you that you're a hypocrite.
Oh, okay.
Deal?
I said to you, I didn't say that I didn't follow you.
Okay.
This person is like disgusting. Like, you're nasty. And these people think they're speaking for like people like me, like trans people. What's violent? Having a camera on you and asking people questions. That's violent, apparently.
I have. So what you're saying is that you want me to leave and you want to follow me. And are you going to follow me? Right.
Yeah, you do wonder if someone should be able to consent to someone else following them around. I don't know. But it's kind of tricky. Like, could they argue that they're doing the same thing? But then if someone says, I don't want to interview, I don't think she's been following people that have been doing that. And ultimately, these people are making like this kind of community look fucking awful.
Isn't that weird?
Your camera will show if that's what we do.
Oh yeah, of course it will. For my protection at this point. Okay.
I appreciate you having the camera, yeah, cool.
Okay, cool.
We can all film each other.
Have a good one.
Everyone, apologies if the audio is slightly not the quality it was before. I did put the equipment away, put the mic away and everything, but my entourage is back and they are continuing to follow me. So basically, anyone that comes within like a 10-meter vicinity of me is obviously so in danger that these people feel that it is their moral obligation to go and warn people about the terror that is Emma and Resistance GB. You know, how we're all fascists and how we don't think that Nigel Farage is conservative enough. And then in the next breath, asking me if I like Nigel Farage, and when I said no, they didn't like that either. So I don't really know what you can do to please these people, but...
Think exactly the same as them. Be basically the exact same kind of person as them. Cut all your hair off and dye it some other colour that isn't that, because that's too conservative. Take some tea, grow a really shit pube stash and like 3 chin hairs. Cut your tits off. Septum piercing, a few other piercings. A bunch of ugly tattoos that don't make any sense. You'd probably fit right in that case. I have so many friends who swallowed the DEI victim oppressor narrative and have watched their lives fall apart from the sidelines. That sucks to hear. Like, I don't know. One of the things is, like, some of these trans people that get into these shitty communities, they're actually much better than this. And they get into these, like, cults. And it sucks. I feel like most of the trans people I've met, they're like fucking zombies in a way. Like, everything they come out with is utter nonsense. They seem to think I'm a terrible person for just speaking my mind. I know like one other trans person around here who's like sane. But then we had like a local community hub that pointed their shit at like trans people and stuff, and they're all like anarcho-socialist, communist, whatever fucks, saying all this kind of crazy shit on social media, involved in all the protests and stuff like that. So almost all of like the local trans people like used to hang out with those kinds of people. So they all get like indoctrinated, and it sucks. Like, I don't know any other group of people that I come across that are like this so often. I don't know, like, we talk about how we're like sticking up for like marginalized people, but these groups are extremely like exclusionary to other people that have probably also felt marginalized by greater society, but then don't fit in there either. And then it's like, well, what the fuck do you do? I guess I'm just not making friends with anyone. Fuck it. Amazing. Yeah, it seems like one side is a lot more pro diversity of thought than the other. And if you don't have the same opinions as these people, you're just not welcome. Like, you always know in the back of your head, even if you can be friends with them on surface level. I know this, like, I've had friends that I literally, like, had jams with and stuff, like, made some music with. And it was fine, because we talk about music and stuff like that. But then, like, I'll voice my opinion about this, that, or the other. And suddenly I'm, like, a terrible person, like a fascist and shit. It's nuts. And it's like, it just annoys me when I waste time with these people, honestly.
Bye, guys. Hello. Bye. Have a good one.
First is when he began behaving oddly. Put his crotch on my body.
Twitter. That's rather strange behaviour.
I'm really nice.
That's really
Oh, so this is the person. Okay, fair enough.
strange
Would you like my
behaviour.
picture?
Jesus Christ.
I just ask you if you'd like my picture. You're pointing the camera at me. Would you like my picture?
It's all on camera, this person.
Okay.
The one that's in there, they're hitting.
I don't think anybody's attacking anybody at the minute. Right, can we just take that out of my face for a second? That's the deal with people.
No.
Who's running this event?
Twitter. That's rather strange behaviour.
I'm really nice.
That's really strange.
You're here to watch acting.
Back off from me. You're touching me.
I'm not. You're touching me.
Back away. Back away.
Why are you shouting at me?
She's touching me. This bloke's touching me.
She's saying things.
Let me not be disrespectful.
She's saying she's come here to
Right, I'm
somebody.
here. This guy's got up to me.
Okay.
Emotional support dolphin. I just start calling it that. The emotional support dolphin. Anyway.
A few women felt, we knew, in fact, that the judgment was not going to be the end of things, that there would be a backlash. And because there has been such, such viciousness towards women for so many years, that there was no way that judgment would drop and then the viciousness would go away. So when we saw that something was being organised in protest, we went along to it's an act of defiance, really, and just to scratch the surface and show what's actually there and what does not go away. And these are violent and lawless men, driving quite young children in some, from what we saw and what we always see, they're quite impressionable children. But the people in my face were older men, and we know that they dislike women intensely, and that is not going to have gone away. So we went along to see what it was, what it was all about.
Well, this is it. I mean, this is what we've seen, unfortunately, from so much of the last few years, were men telling women what they were, what they weren't. And it wasn't just at this protest in Sheffield. There are various placards from across the country calling for the death of women, calling for violence towards women. And what's incredible is to see the police...
By the way, I don't know why the sound on GB News is always so shit. Like, you've got the sound, you've got the microphone, and that's fine. And then just in my right ear, I can just hear like an echo. It's so annoying. I don't know why the sound is like this. Like, you've got this massive fucking fancy studio and all this shit. Like, Jesus Christ.
Response to that. We did a feature earlier on two-tier policing, I don't know how many people actually were arrested for these outrageous calls for violence towards women.
Yeah. I mean, I've never really been part of the two-tier policing debate. I've not been asked much about it, but that is what I saw yesterday, because they were all over the public building, the town hall. It's, you know, your public right of access, and I said, right, I'm walking my suffragette flag back through there. I have the right to do it. I am not going to be cowed by these bullies who've assaulted my partner. They've assaulted me, and I have the right to walk one flag, one women's rights flag, through their hundreds of flags in a public space that is a democratic place, and they would not let me pass. The police would not let me pass. So I asked them, why can I not walk where everyone is allowed to walk? Why can I not do that?
Bumba Clark TV channel. Maybe. I'm Mortal Agenda. I hope you're good.
And they said, because we think it will be a breach.
Yeah, her sound is like better. She's in a fucking loft or something. And in their fancy studio, it's like, there's this fucking echo in my ear. Like, sort it, man.
Of the peace. And I said,
another reason they don't want them in their spaces is general misogyny. Yeah, it doesn't help, does it?
Who will breach that peace? Because I've never hurt anyone. And they said, we fear that, well, they were very unclear at first, and then they confirmed for me, they feared for me and for the people I was with.
I mean, that's a fair comment, because like the mob mentality is what you're really up against. And like, I don't know, man. I don't know too much about how like protests and shit are policed. I guess they have to be cognizant of the fact that these protesters, anyone who's an outsider, anyone who's different, is going to be viewed with suspicion and potentially hurt. You know what I mean? I don't get the reasoning of how a women's rights flag can be so offensive to them. Well, it's us versus them shit, isn't it? It's like sides cuck shit.
There were only a handful of us. You know, we didn't organise a great protest. It was just, you know, let's go along and take a few flags. They'd already stolen virtually everything we had, and they had assaulted a number of us. I'm covered in bruises, actually. I didn't realise at the time, but, you know, we've looked at my arms. People have grabbed me very hard. My partner's, she had her face injured from people punching her, and she's had a headache all day.
And so if the police actually arrest...
No, they don't have any footage of that shit.
Arrested anybody from that? Sorry, have they come and taken a report from you? Have they taken any video footage? So a woman can be punched in the face, and this actually is what I saw years ago, which sort of opened my eyes to what was going on here. Were in this case it was men beating women and somehow being celebrated for it, and not being seen that is where the hate is coming from. You standing there with a suffragette flag, surely that isn't hateful.
It wasn't hateful, and we hadn't made speeches, we hadn't been noisy, we had simply held our flags, and one of them was the symbol of the lesbian resistance, the Labris flag, and that had been stolen from a lesbian woman. So, you know, the violence was quite incredible, and they were really shouting, really in our faces.
True security is your job isn't to intimidate either side, it's to calm down those who seem to be getting fired up. Yeah, you'd think so. Unfortunately, I don't know, maybe things have changed. Who knows? I've kept far away from all this like fucking what is it? What's the word I'm looking for? Like this like protest culture and shit like that. I'm just not interested in any of it. I don't want to go to any fucking protests. I never have wanted to. All the people involved seem like fucking freaks. They seem like fucking dipshits. Yeah. The fact that they get to speak for trans people is fucking annoying. I don't know. All I can do is like disavow all that shit. Disavow the shitty fucking trans pride flag. All the stupid fucking mantras that they chant. The same fucking speech that every single one of them gives every single time with the same talking points that are just helping less and less and less. Because people don't want to hear it anymore. We've become like the actual definition of insanity. Doing the same shit over and over. Expecting different results. Well, it's getting worse and they're not actually doing anything to help. They're just making us look worse, you know what I mean?
And it became quite terrifying, actually. But when I started to say to the police officer who was trying to move me away for my safety, and I said, but this guy here, this bloke, because he was a bloke, he had a wig on and lipstick, but still a man, was pushing his body into mine, you know, his crotch into my side. And I said...
Stephanie Walsh just detransitioned. Oh my God. Crazy. I have to have a look.
this guy is assaulting me. And the police officer said, we don't want to offend anyone, though. He was talking about my use of language about a man. And so he was more concerned with me and the way that
Again, I guess is the mob mentality shit. Who knows what's going to happen? Saying literally anything. I agree, Growth Foundation.
I was calling men than he was with what was happening to me in front of him. And that was deeply, deeply shocking.
Yeah, well, I'm sorry for it. And again, seeing some of the clips and seeing you being so brave in the face of the hate was visceral, apart from the physical thing, but just the shouting, the screaming, 1,000 people all focused on you for being able to just stand there and say, look, women are biological women. I thought it was incredibly brave. I am so sorry that your partner and you got hurt. But I think where you going there and unfortunately exposing what happened is terrible but necessary. So thank you.
Yeah, there we go. Listen, I need to stop in a minute. I need to start making food. My partner's going to be home soon. But yeah, fuck all these protests. They're all disgusting.